Tá mé tosú amach ar aistear I siúlas a roiíocht ar chunar deamata chean Iarnród na hÉireann. Chóras taistil a dá go lára ar an tua is ar héal an Ileán trí chéile. Chas for roinns cáde orm, idir nua sean chun spirid ré óirge na Iarnród a Gaile a gúiseacht. Go cúsin an rawan cháil bóthir Iarn íofa chlár. Ba he sin an Iarnród chéile ceangail leis an Iarnród caideána go ceann cúsa le hinse. Áitir á fólína a gcuil go cilchí chosearige ó achfuil bhaasta. Ba he sin freisin an bailach a ghlach Percy French a chuúman párán a bhfuil clú idirnáisiúnta ar ná Are you right there, Michael, are you right? Agus a bhuail leis an órán sé an West Clare an Iarnród is cáúla díobh ar fad. Clú na neamh an taifeachta a spreag ó an ganúil French agus is seoad náisiúnta ó hin an West Clare Railway. Ag stáisiún na hinse ceann aistear an bhealaigh siar tosaím amach chun dríocht na trénach finscéalach seo a bhlaise don féin. Tug an céad a chos maistear chéil díreach go múséum an chláir mé. Áite tugan an starí Michael McCahan le fis gur bheith léach politiúil na híise mór a miste leat a heol chréibh lína beag bídeach írar an chlár in 884, saolig a le héad. Inistum faoi star an lína ó 885.
Well, tá méid caint in á riire ó bhíle 859 nuair a chuireháin an smaoinemh agus an tugra an tionscadal ollmhór os cór an phobal. Ach de réir mar a lean an obair I raig ag 1884 chuirh tús leis an obair I sráid na carrach. Ach timpeall in ammaní dhíos sin tháinig Parnell ar cuairt agus rud anatábhachtach ar fad mar himbal den tionscadal seo tugu an slúasáid seo dó agus bhain sé an céad fód efagúil ón talamh.
Leis an
slúaid seo. So sin cinnal an slúasáid is choúla sa tír béidir agus chomáile sin nuair bíonn tú ag breanú air tá rud ag an gramaí air agus sin Parliament gratan. So bhí nasc ann agus bhí an falsúnacht ann go raibh dul chun King Danger agus go raibh tugra níos lethna béidir maidir leis an bóthar Iarn. Ní bháin go raibh iompar poiblí a gceist ach go raibh tír ó thógans.
Well, is deas a rud é gur am aithne míle. Péród faoi thógáil náisiún Iarnród an chláir, chur an ceol an chláir blá a dhéag an tradiisiún dúchais. An tá ba raisiúla níos tar an íon Tara agus Martin Brian áilleocht ceol a chundé an chláir, cos tealaigh sa maile I sean stáisiún an Rúan.
When the railway came from Ennis to Corofin and on to Lahinch, there was no stop for Rowan. But we had a very strong parish priest here at the time, Father John Gary. He came here in 1912. I'll actually read a little bit about it for you.
Okay.
He got his way in nearly everything, but when the West Clare Railway decided to tell him, no, you're not getting any station, he said, well, we'll do something about that. So this is what he did. So later he became parish priest of Rowan. And when the West Clare Railway Company refused to provide a station at Rowan, he drove his pony and trap onto the railway line in order to compel the train to halt. He got his way about having a station here and indeed about most other matters. He died in 1912 and he's buried in the graveyard in Rowan Church.
So he pulled up his pony and trap here
Stopped
every
the
day.
train every day until such time as the West Clare Railway saw fit to say, well, we better give him his way or we'll never get a train to Lahinch.
They tell me that some people travelled on the train without getting a ticket at all because you could catch
Yes.
up on it if you were able to run fast enough.
Correct. And if you couldn't run fast enough, it was going slow enough that you might have to be pushing it.
Uphill the old engine is climbing, while the passengers push with a will. You're in luck when you reach Ennis-Timon, for all the way home is down.
Níléon élo ó árán Percy French. Caintí le dígra sé chus tealaigh agus na sean music halls fadó. Thógan Iarnród cás clú vilte I gcuine French, a cathfa amach é nuair a chúla an brethbh leiscéal French a tháinig déanacht an éisteacht. Bé muomh magúil Percy ná gur a bheith an West Clare Railway a chur muil air. Tá irid ceanna an is atá masla, agus chur legan Brendan O'Dowda uair fan scíán rís na coigadaí.
So it might, and it might now, Michael, so it might.
Tá irid teilech cheol sa chlár sa táte stáisiún ar an mealach. Agus cé ar leis teach an stáisiún I gur a finne, ach báil de heileach winse Shannon, a bhfuil seasamh damda sa ceol gaileach buinte machachu. A chorú álinn cuí atá déanta ar stáisiún na chur a finne, a bhuichas sin de bhreithúnas stílúil Irish Shannon, ar airí le hí dúchas, inneoch, éráid agus diorlédaí an stáisiún a chaimhnú.
Seo é an sean stáisiún I gcuirt in é gon den chlár, agus gún an Iarnród go thomláin I 1961.
Agus céir a hálainn sin.
Well, I 1965 ceannig me Antine Kathleen Shannon.
An teach.
An teach seo. Agus bhí si ag obair mar bailthórátaí ag an am sin, ach bhí teach lóistín aici an seo freisin.
Tuigim. Sin an ádáin an sin mar
Seo?
agus bhíoch an tréin go ddíireach an seo.
Dír an seo, so tháinig an tréin as inis.
As inis.
Yeah, agus an tró seo go dtí Inistúmáin,
An
le Crothuair,
Tuigim.
Sráid na Carrach, agus go dtí Kilcree agus Kilrush. Seo.
Agus ar an dónach I rihan saoire bhach an tréin lán go daoine agus cultúraí.
Lán do daoine agus I dul excursions mar a déartha.
Sagam.
Seo.
Agus bhí si tána taobh ó hir gon stáisiún.
Bhí agus tá drapa ann fós agus bhí sé den nós ag an tamánaí.
Aha.
Agus cuidan na passionéirí ri thar an drapa go dtí an pigtarna chun cúpla
Agus cean sciupaí a bheithach.
Yeah.
A quick one.
A quick one, nó go, nó three.
Dearabhú glán ar chruinneas an árán. Tá ag súil go mór ar maidin bula ríis le sean charalum ó mo héal sa folatíocht. An tíorthachta dála agus ar a rialtais, Tony Killeen. Fear a dása níos le ciúis an bhóthar íran. Agus nach é Tony an téatá scéalach faoi, is go maithe an gach éon chóir a thuirt chun cuine.
Bhí mar in argóní cóngrach don stáisiún, agus bhíos ar an tréin go minic. Héimiis isteach go dtí inis ag siopadóireacht, héin le mo bháthir, agus an í sin le mo drifúraí a bhí beagání níos óige ná mé féin. Agus in san saoire ar an damhnach bíoch tréan níos fuide, níos mó a dul go dtí leachtaí Crothuair. Agus is dócha go dtí Kilcee freisinach is go leachtaí Crothuair a héimiis go minic, beidir 3 nó 4 uair I rihan táraigh.
Go dtí an trá.
Go dtí an trá. Agus bhíoch an tréin plódathe. Nuair a bheitfá ag fannacht I stáisiún Corofine don tréin, bheitfá cosúil le duine I stáisiún faoi Halle bhí London. Bheith slú amór ann, a sin freis tamil bheith an tréin ann, agus é plódathe hena féin. Agus cuid is módíomh déirhin ó inis féin agus de gnábhíoch an tréin I bhad níos lú I rian na seachtainna. Ceapim go raibh seachtain ó tréin in aigen lé, agus héag methar go mion minic go inistíáin ag siopadóir de cruairí. Crúte capel, agus tarnaí, agus búta siad ó féin, agus fiol.
Fiol.
In san pacáiste dun.
Siop an búistéire.
Siop an búistéire. Agus bheag dul haranteach go dtí an stáisiún.
Agus bhíon trénig tacht an seo.
No, ó inistíán an tró seo.
An tró seo.
Agus bheith mí sé fannach leis an tréin, agus caithach sé amach na cruairí, a bhúta sí nua, na crúte capel, agus an fiol.
Agus gochach sé go an stáisiún.
Gochach sé go an stáisiún, agus léamach sé sús ar a rothar, agus reis gan Iarnród Enda.
You're right there, Michael, you're right. Have you got the parcel there from Mrs. White? Oh, you haven't? Oh, begorra, say it's coming down tomorrow, and it might now, Michael, so it might.
Im chuideach inis, Bert Cheanna Chara, Martin Lynch agus Jim McMahon, don chos áling sin de meistear imil an a chlantig mhór, idir inis diamáin agus leachtaí chrathúr.
My grandfather and my father would have long memories of the West Clare Railway. My father lived between here and Miltown Malbay, and he remembers when he was a young guy running by the side of the train. It would have to slow going up the hill, and he would get on the train and get to Miltown Malbay, or when it was coming up, he'd come to Lahinch. My grandfather put animals onto the train to go to Ennis and move on further to Dublin. So it was an integral part. People were able to go to school. It was huge. It was a Miltown Malbay, Spanish Point was a tourist area. It meant that people from Miltown Malbay could get to places like Ennis and Limerick, which would have seemed a huge distance away, but now it was accessible.
This railway line was pitted against reality in many ways. In order to make it attractive, the cost of setting it up were understated. The backup repair services could not be done locally, which added immensely to the cost. When the railway here was first conceived in the 1850s, there was 280,000 people living in Clare. By the time it was built, that had reduced to 120,000. By the time it was closed in 1961, we were down to 71,000. The road deliveries were now taken on the railways, and people were travelling by bus from Lahinch and Innis Diamond to Shannon in the morning, a 30-40 minute journey.
Agus is mar sin a fuair Iarnród iarthar an chláir bás. Ach I bhíne se áilleacht na háite seo, an féidir chonar an Iarnród a chóit chun bheithe go ríis mar áis tarasóireachta.
It must happen here. I mean, I'm looking across, I can see the pathway of the railway. There's so much of it you can still walk. If you look at the map, you can see the route. It won't be easy. It's not the most simple of journeys to reconstruct, but it's certainly a fabulous opportunity. And in a funny way, the dreams of the people who started this off, the ambitions and the aspirations, which could never be realised within the life of the railway, can be realised.
Il cloch nach pág sa riní nach bhfuil scéal nó starlaí. Bhí ról nach beag ag an Iarnród go gona saoirse fadó. Lagóg le na héireann líochán ósaí na corónach, níideag fithe ag an riníon. Áite do gan an seanadór Róisín Garvey a scéaldal. Céirt a hálan seo, cén starad ag buint leis an áiteo?
Well, céad bliain ó théana mí man for se chuin bhí líochán ar siúlan seo. The former bhí míid faoi bhrú ag na galdaigh ag an am sin taiscut agus ní rá mór an sa láthir ó thaobh gunaí acu bhí si go léir ag na galdaigh. So fuair Ignatius O'Neill fear úsal ó sráid carach amach gur rá siad ag dul thar an áit seo gach seachtain. So dagfaidh siad ionsaí agus bhí 5 fear áitiúil tóca leis. nuair tháinig na gá trocanna ón assassinnig chuig na fear scapsiad agus chuir siad í bholach taobh den bóthir Iarn mar de gná bhí na bóthir Iarn sais ar mount níos irde so chuig siad í bholach. So de chosan siad na fear an am sin. Má hiúlann tú an bóthir Iarn bhúdaigh tú le daoine a bhí gafa leis an réabhlód an am sin. So tá an cangles idir an star áirtiúil agus an Iarnród Éireann mar bhí sé le cónaí ar agus bhí sé anúsáideach ó thaobh taistil agus dul í bholach agus go minic bhí na daoine is lóna taobh réabhlódaigh a bhí ar an lína sin freisin an dtuigeann tú. So is minic a bhí damáiste déanta mar bhí sé cógar den na taobh bhí sé de churbh trí hinne.
So rud lánach bathe an bóthir Iarn agus cogan na saoirse agus star na háirte.
Ja, agus ceanglann sé gachtain in le chéile.
Tá caidiribh achananta idir cheol glóite rina bíbarí Willie Clancy agus an áitin ar fascahé. Shráid na carach, tubar cheol chun dé an chlár. Cuirtar fáiltiú róing ag teach an stáisiún, le tún go méide go bhfuil blast na híróine ag rins leis, tír na bhuió mar a miste leat. Ó bhirte tá báite in san geol ón glíomháin, déobh agus dar a fedan. An seo búlam le fear a thug an tréin gach maidin chun dul ar scoil. Martin Kern. You were born and reared here, Martin.
I went to school on the train, yeah.
Would there be many pupils travelling on that to school?
Well, there would be about 20, I'd say, altogether, roughly,
Right.
yeah.
When the train got moving, would it be moving fast?
No, she wasn't very fast. Like, you could keep up to her going out from the station if you were a bit late, trying to catch it, and you could run after and jump on her. One night, we were that late, it was 1 o'clock in the morning when we got here from school from Innisdiamond, which is only about 12 miles away.
So you could have walked home and
Well, I
back?
could have walked home several times. The Black Hill up there, coming home one night, she got stuck there, and we hit a bullock, actually, and she was stuck, stop. So we all had to get out, pull the bullock from the front of the train. So we all gave her a shove. Whether we were effective or not, I don't know, but she got going anyway, Lynn.
Dás ar chréaltóir Marty Morrissey a níos, 300 slát ó bhealach Iarnród Éireann an chlár, agus is é atá passionanta faoin na éireacht. You were reared here in Quilty.
I was indeed.
So what sort of memories do you have about stories about the West Clare line?
Well, it turns out that my father went to school on the West Clare Railway. His home place is 1.5 miles outside the village of Quilty, down towards Mullock. And he used to walk about 1 mile to Kilmurray station. And then he would travel on the train, and it would take about 45 minutes all the way up to Ennisdiamond.
While the rail lines had an impact socially on bringing people into areas like this, they were also a facility for people to leave. Do you have any memories of that yourself?
Well, I have
Quilty?
stories in the sense that Kilmurray O'Brien, our parish here, won a minor championship sometime in the 1950s. And they won the match on a Sunday, and on the Monday, 7 or 8 of those lads went with their bags, with boots, back onto the West Clare Railway and made their way to Ennis, from Ennis to Euston Station, Dublin, and from there to England. And a lot of them didn't come back. So it was not just a social facility locally, but it was a source of immigration, unfortunately. And in some ways, while there were happy days, there were also sad days.
So the platforms on the little stations were sources of saying goodbye for many people who never came back.
Correct. And there were tears of sadness, as much as there were tears of joy, just as people had to leave because there were no jobs. Now you're going from the home of Gaelic football to a place called Mayasta. The best of luck. I know you'll love it.
Thank you, Martin. Is a réige nach chreid mé an raiarcha bhach Róm ag mai hasta. Íontas na níontas, as airithe os na maribh, seanach réin de chud Iarnród Éireann an chlár, faoi gáil ag déanamh a bhealach a ríis ar an ród. Tá charan da chuid agad féin caite ag an ddígrasóir gaile Jackie Whelan, ag a chorú an slíomh Callan, agus míle slíd den bothíran ag mai hasta. Éocht cheanna a chur an bathe agus álamh de ríis in áit na Merige is na Racha.
My first memory of this thing here was I filled turf on it when we had no coal. There was a time when Churchill wouldn't give us coal, you see. So we were running peat of turf. And we lived up here 5 miles from here in a bog called Shrabog.
Shrabbogs, yeah.
And
okay.
my father supplied turf to the railway.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember filling turf on that 1948.
On this one here?
On that same engine, yeah.
My goodness, yeah. Jackie, to fire up this engine now and to get it ready for the day's travel.
Yeah.
The work involved in that.
There is. Well, Richard would be here now in the morning and to take him 4.5 hours if the coal was good to get full steam up.
Now, you have plans for the future?
If we could get money off a Trump, we'd go that way because his golf course is up there a couple of miles from us.
Yes.
But we intend to go towards Kilkee and get the museum up. But they're talking of a cycleway and the track at the minute.
When that engine was laid up after the line was lifted, what had you to do to bring it back to get it in working order like it is now?
So I got a hold of it in 1989. I got after the chairman of CIA at the time, Michael McDonald,
yes,
and he gave me a contract to take the engine out of Innis and take it back here with conditions attached. One of the conditions to satisfy Thrashorn was we substantially improve it, rebuild it, or I had to go back to Innis in 3 years. So I hit for England with it as fast as I could, and it cost me 650,000 to rebuild it.
You have memories, of course, of the trains being packed with people coming and going and the business of West Ayr.
In its heyday, it was the people from Limerick City were the biggest runners to Kilkee in the time. And it would be no surprise to have 7 carriages full of Limerick people arriving in Kilkee twice a day.
Bring Lloyd, passion, agus diagras as compass, a hall an tírsma seo den Iarnród beag, is mór riamh a bhar graimer hauliacht agus bhá an phobal. Iarnród Parnell agus Percy French fada Shear, Iarnród Jackie Whelan an a síalta seo, Iarnród Iarthar an Chlár go Joe na Nyo. I want to thank you for bringing us down the line on the Slieve Callan. I enjoyed the journey on the steam train. I wasn't on one since I was about 6. Kilchee, Ceann Scríbe, Dara Ashtar. Tá seod de stáisiún Dlóchan seo, a chur fáilte ribh na mílte torasóir lé nó fád Diarmach ón Ré Victoria Chanún go dtí tús na seascataí. Bailile brá síra fós é Kilchee, bhfuil áit ar leithe gruthe pobal na hínse agus limaní go dtí an láta an Nniuán. Áise bathe an Iarnród a thug láise badóireachta sa chathair a ghoine, nó ticéad éon bhealach go dtí saol nua a lear. Agus Charles Stewart Parnell ag déanamh ar sráide na cathrach leis an géad ó de Chiantú. Is cinse gomach sé an tóca dá sáilóg sé an íringe ad tréiseach rá na héireann nua san Inuit is fithe. Agus an ról a bhí ag Iarnród Iarthar an Chlár sa síal sin.
Well, Lauren Dinna, the Vorscríbnóir na Heran Golam Fina Ashtar Lirta Godisha Column to Bean on Memory Shore, Egg Fe Kui Kunade. Octration of Ogri, Noklon Lay.